Good day. I'm Reginald Parker, President, CEO, and founder of 510 and the inventor of SolarVIA. We have a tagline of delivering a sustainable advantage. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll see how. 80% of the world's population lives near water, whether or not that's a beach, lakes, rivers. We live near water. And so as the climate changes, we're going to have some problems. Forest fires, flooding. That bottom picture is in North Carolina. We had problems getting food to where we were when Matthew came through, and so some spoilage, hurricanes, and drought. And that's Lake Lanier, about 30 so miles north of Atlanta. So fossil fuel-based CO2, which is one of the largest contributors to climate change, is what we're going after. We're trying to find ways of helping to generate power without generating CO2. So our aim is to use solar. And as you see over the years, and it's projected to go at 7.4% annually into the future, a growth rate of solar in billions of dollars, reaching $159 billion by 2023. Solar is abundant, it's free as a fuel. However, it needs subsidies to be cost competitive. The global market for electricity is about 12.6 million megawatts annually. That's how much electricity we use. And of that, around 2% of that is solar. And so when we're saying that we're getting into this market, by next year, we hope to open up our manufacturing doors, and we have about 30 megawatts in pre-sales. And we hope to reach 100 megawatts by 2019. Now that power from solar, last year we did 51,000 megawatts. And of that, 62% of that was done by 13 companies, 10 of which are from Southeast Asia, 3 of which is from North America. We've heard of Canadian Solar. What they do is buy all of their parts from Southeast Asia and package them in Canada. So I was trying to figure out whether or not I would put Canadian Solar in the North America side or the Southeast East Asia side, where the majority of the manufacturing is actually done in China. And 38% of the market is done by 15,000 companies. It's a fragmented market, very small for the others. And over 1/3 of those companies come from China. And so this produces a risk and an opportunity. The risk is it's a global concentration. If anything were to happen to China in terms of economics or a global catastrophe, the world solar panel infrastructure would be shut down. In fact, 80% of solar that was sold into the US last year was from China. So we need diversification of places to make solar. So me being a nerd, I looked at the solar spectrum to see where I can go to differentiate myself. You'll see on the far left, 5% of the energy that comes in is UV, 43% visible, and 52% infrared. When you move into climates such as the Caribbean, Africa, deserts, the infrared radiation or concentration is even more robust. And the average panel, like this one here, when it absorbs the infrared radiation, it starts to lose efficiency at 1 degree, at 0.5% every 1 degree C, it increases. So to me, we need a solution that doesn't need subsidies, that is geographically or globally diverse, and is capable of handling heat. And so we came up with SolarVIA. SolarVIA has a 5.5 cents a kilowatt hour cost of electricity without subsidy. as opposed to around 10 cents for regular solar PV. The issue is that if you were to put batteries on top of those numbers, it would increase those numbers to 8.5 to 9.5 to 13 to 14 cents a kilowatt hour. And you'll see Taiwan through China, that's the cost of the grid. And so to be able to fit on the grid and be cost competitive, solar PV requires incentives and subsidies to be cost competitive to fit into the grid. SolarVIA does not. You may say, how in the world do you get 5.5 cents a kilowatt hour? Well, this is how. What we do is we take the spectrum and we use a proprietary lens and we track the sun, 2-axis tracker. And by doing that, we get 60% more solar radiation into our device than fixed tilt. So the first thing is get more stuff. We concentrated over 1,000 times to a chip about the size of your pinky nail. So use less stuff. We columnate it so that it falls on your panel uniformly, and you actually increase the lifespan of your chip because you have even distribution of the solar radiation. And then you split the visible light from the infrared. And in this particular contemplation, SolarVIA, we designed both of the chips. The visible chip generates electricity at 53% efficiency. The IR chip generates electricity at 30%. Remember, on conventional solar, sending the light all to the visible chip starts to reduce efficiency. In this particular case, I get a net gain. Now, I was ecstatic, coming here for a variety of different reasons. And in looking at a lot of the solutions, I said, I don't need to send that infrared to a chip. I can possibly send it to a sun bucket, and I can use the electricity to charge phones. And so I have a ready-made partner that I can work with. I looked at all of the solar innovations, and they're ready-made partners for us, whether or not you're talking about irrigation or possibly splitting the visible light a little bit more so I can use the UV and infrared and partner with Solvatin and use the visible for electricity to pump the water. So I was ecstatic at using this technology. Now you will say, why did you come up with splitting light? Well, 6.1 miles from here, my uncle lived, and he had a photographic studio. And I grew up here. I went to high school here. And I was taking my high school picture. And, the light, which was intense, was coming on me, and it wasn't hot. I said, Uncle Sam, how did you do that? He said, well, I split the light. I sent the heat one way and the visible back on you. That stuck with me. And that's the genesis of the technology. And it allows us to do a variety of different things. In this particular embodiment, we're going to create electricity. So we took the design to the North Carolina Solar Center, and we were able to show that our heterojunction technology design, which was differentiated from what is common with concentrated PV, was sufficient, that we could split light efficiently, and that we can increase the concentration for what is normal at 500x to in excess of 1500x. So the competitive advantages you see, we are able to produce power at 45% lower cost of electricity. We have a patent hedge that allows us, and only us, to do it. And because, as you see, two of these give you the same power as this. However, one of these gives me the same electricity. The kilowatt hour production for this device is much higher because it's creating electricity but from both the visible and the infrared. The infrared is lost on this. So we need 40% less land. And as I just showed you, there's a variety of different technologies within the solar innovation space that this technology provides. So it's a versatile, renewable technology. So to get this to market, we've partnered with a bunch of people, and we've talked to a bunch of people Carbon is looking to help us to get into European as well as markets in Turkey, as well as across the US. We've talked to Fifth Third Bank, who have relationships with developers, and once we're able to prove out our technology on our demonstration, ready to design, they're going to introduce us to those developers. We've been in conversation to do a project in Haiti with USAID. We have distributors already, and they're ready to go in Africa as well as the Caribbean. We've talked to each one of these utilities. They're very interested in the technology. I live in North Carolina from Georgia, so we had to talk to our southern partners. Each one is interested and would be willing to accept electricity that is generated from developers of SolarVIA. And to date, we have one licensee who wants to use our product on refrigerated warehouses applications. So what I've done is, based on my commercialization experience, I went out and found a partner. The Sienna Group is headquartered in Atlanta, who has a global footprint and has had great experience and success in making products similar to this. They make products for the government, Boeing, and the alike, so I was very comfortable with them being our contract manufacturer. So on day one, we have global scale, quality capability, and a very good partner for manufacturing. So what are our steps? We have about 8 projects, 2 operating right now that we're selling. We're going to take those funds and put it into the commercialization of this technology. So we're self-funding ourselves and making ourselves a lot more attractive to the capital markets. We have a couple more continuation patents that we're putting into our portfolio. We want to do a demonstration array by Q1, and based on that, raise $4 million in equity. Again, we don't need a lot of money to scale up using a contract manufacturer and using strategic partners. By Q3 of next year, UL and IEC certification or listing, and first product manufactured in Q4. Conservatively, we hope to be at 50 million in profits by 2020. If we should win the award, we're pumping all of that into a 20 kW demonstration array. It will be erected at one of our partners' site in Atlanta, right off of 7585, just below Georgia Tech, and within 20 miles of our contract manufacturer. So we're thinking about how to do this strategically. Now, that's not SolarVIA, but that's what it would look like. Process optimization is needed for the ready-to-manufacture design and everything that you do to build that. Now, you kind of probably picked up, I used to be a turnkey developer, and that's the reason I'm selling these projects. So I understood the pain point of developers, and one of the things that they like to see are these demonstration arrays so that they can see head-to-head how do these things do. So to be able to do this, I have a great complement of a team with energy experience, M&A, technology commercialization. And so the first part of that is our divestment. So Ken and I are working on a divestment plan. Willie Lanier, NFL Hall of Famer, he helped us to secure 30 of the 60 megawatts that we're selling. Both Johns helped us to capitalize them. And then for solar manufacturing, Marcus with his technology commercialization experience, along with Keith with his innovation experience in business, and Dean Gary May from the College of Engineering and his technology background are helping us to carry to market. Again, fossil fuel generated CO2 is one of the things that we're going after. We see SolarVIA as a fast. We don't need much to get into market on day one. Flexible, it can fit into a variety of different renewable energy technologies, and formidable given our competitive advantage solution. 510 Nano's team is experienced and proven in this area. Thank you very much.
All right. I've got one question. So you've got the dual plane.
Two-axis tracker.
Yeah. What powers that?
The solar powers it, but usually you use a small battery for that, which is less than 1% of the power of the total array.
All right, so it's powered by the thing that goes into a battery and just runs it. Great. Questions over here? You know what? Let's move you to this microphone here. Sorry about that.
What I was saying that it's a bit unfair to compare your product to the flat panel, which is a different type of characteristics, and we know the efficiency of the panel will never be more than 26%. How do you compare your product performance and cost to triple junction diode technologies, which has very much a concentrated solar capabilities with the efficiency of 45% on the output? Have you done any studies in that area?
Right. The reason we are comparing it to PV is because unlike concentrated PV can't stand head-to-head against PV in ease of the implementation as well as scale-up. And so for this technology, I'll compare it to both PV and CPV. We're looking to do utility scale for this, so this is not a rooftop application. Secondly, in terms of CPV, it actually has a worse problem when you talk about heat, because as you concentrate it, the temperatures can get in excess of 300 degrees C. And so the efficiency becomes a problem and you have to take out the heat. We never send the heat in. So we get the same efficiency as heterojunction or basically triple junction systems. We get the same efficiency without losing the heat efficiency. Then we take that heat, send it to another chip, and get a boost on efficiency in excess of that. That's the reason we're at 5.5 cents a kilowatt hour. Head-to-head, this produces more than 90% more electricity on an operating square footprint. In comparison to conventional CPV, we're able to get an additional 30% because we take our infrared and send that there, and it changes into electricity at about 30% efficiency. So regardless of whether or not you're talking about CPV, which we did comparisons directly to, and we did compare directly to that at the North Carolina Solar Center, we were able to say, not only from a capital cost point of view, we make sense, but also from an operation and maintenance point of view. We designed this to fit on regular two-axis trackers. We don't have to design a new one because, we thought about that from a pain point of view. Thank you.
Other questions? One right here. You?
Yes, you mentioned USAID was one of your partners. I was wondering what the role was of USAID, and are they providing any funding at all?
Right. So the way that we did USAID was not to go directly to them, but go to a partner who already wanted to do work in Haiti. So one of the companies that I showed up there on that slide approached USAID on our behalf to do a 5 megawatt in Haiti. And so we're working over that, and we expect to have, of that 30 megawatts that we're selling, that's part of that sale, do a 5 megawatt USAID project in Haiti.
No more questions? One more.
So do you see any opportunity for residential in sort of next generation product concepts? And do you have a sense of the useful life of this system?
I'm going to answer that in reverse, if you don't mind. Every component that we put into here, we design with a 25-year life. So the lens, the primary optic, has a 25-year warranty. It's UV stabilized. It's made at 3 mils to make sure that it doesn't sag over its lifetime. The chips are made from Boeing. They've been used in space for in excess of 20 years. We just tweaked the design to optimize it for our application. The infrared chips are made by IQE. They are certified to have a long life. So we actually thought about everything in the supply chain. What is the lifespan of it? Who is the partner? Can they manufacture at scale? What is the quality? Will they stand behind their product so that when we wrap this all up, we could say that it will last this long, and we will be able to get Hanover to give us the insurance-backed warranty for that. So not only can we say that it will last, we are working on getting the insurance to say even if it doesn't, we have a very nice partner in Hanover that will pay for the new system. In terms of residential, the first application is solar electricity utility scale. The second one is high temperature electrolysis for turning CO2 into hydrocarbons. And then the third application of this will be for residential. It's a little bit more work that we're going to have to do to pull this down, have enough scale so that it will be at the right cost. But we need to go through the life cycles.
How heavy is this, when you compare? I mean, it must be pretty heavy. And also, how about solar carports? Did you talk, residential is the third stage, what you're saying, but how about solar carports? Would it be possible?
Between the two of these, I'd rather carry this all day. This is about 30% or 70% lighter than this. So it's not that heavy. That's one of the reasons when you go onto the solar two-axis trackers, we're able to put more on a two-axis tracker, which actually drives down the cost because a two-axis tracker is a fixed cost. So if you're able to put more power on it, the dollars per watt or dollars per kilowatt hour actually goes down. In terms of solar carports, that will be part of the third generation. If I can put it on a residential rooftop, slanted rooftop, I will be able to do it on carports. And so getting price and the fit and the structure right is important.
We've got one over here.
Is there, when you compare the two in terms of the payback and the investment, are they similar or are they different? And do you have an advantage in that area?
Yes, producing the amount of electricity, right, and reducing the cost. Here you see that we're 45% lower in price overall, so then, we're 45% of the payback period. And being utility scale or going after utility scale, that makes sense. However, if you look at some of the markets that we're looking at, let's say Nigeria, I went there last year and spent a lot of time there for business development and understanding the problems. After the light going, the power going out 6 times a day, I was very concerned. I was like, how could you do manufacturing when you don't know when the power is going to go out, right? So they wanted solar with batteries. And I looked at the cost of that, and with regular panels, you're talking about 15 cents a kilowatt hour. Their grid is actually around 10 cents a kilowatt hour, but it breaks down. So they were using diesel fuel. And if you just look at that, that drives the cost up to 35 to 40 cents a kilowatt hour. It's not efficient, it's not environmentally beneficial, but it's reliable, and so a lot of folks were using that. So solar with batteries become reliable and affordable to them, especially with the technology like this. And they were very much interested. In fact, they allowed me to set up a company when I'm ready to go back to Nigeria. So you have a lot of countries like that when you look at the power use and the need, you can get in there a lot differently because they're not making the same assumptions that we make here in North America.
Real Judd. Great job, Reginald. Thank you.
Thank you.